Hey, everybody. We're back for our marketing department podcast series, and we're talking about things that you can do to grow your business, no matter the size. And it's kind of neat today. We have with us our sales manager, Julie Batchelor's with us today, and we have a guest here from our local Davis Chamber, Tim Roper, and who's done a whole lot in our community and helped a lot of businesses. And so today we're going to kind of talk about some of the things that can be done, and according to the touch points of where your business touches the public or touches other people or other businesses. And one of the things that you guys hear me talk about quite a bit is being a number two, and part of that is where you go, and one of the best things you can do for marketing yourself is we all know that most people believe, rather than the marketing or advertisements, we believe first when real people say they've had a great experience, when real people talk about how they've experienced either service or a product or how that works. And so one of the best things you can do is to start looking at products or services around you that you've experienced and then say, okay, what can I do to shout them out? What can I do to help them expand? Because if there's somebody you like, if the business is something you like, if you believe in it, in my book, we owe it to them. And so one of the first things I tell a lot of our clients to do is start shouting out other businesses. And sometimes they'll say, well, I did it, but none of them shouted me out back. And I need to tell them, you don't care about that. It'll happen when it happens. But what you need to do is start, and don't fake it, but be real. If you've had a great experience or you've worked with the company and their service is phenomenal, shout that out. Take that time to expand it. On it. And one of the reasons why we asked Tim Roper to come from the chamber is he has been an incredible shout-out person, an incredible number two support for the chamber since he came into this market. And he, I've noticed that being a business owner in this area is he really knows what he's talking about. He knows how to help businesses grow. And I thought today we'd kind of get into some more detail of some things we can do. So Tim and Julie, speak up at any point, but tell us some of the best things you see that a person can do to kind of expand their image or their reputation.
My number one thing is to join the chamber.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come get to know us. It is a phenomenal place to get to know a lot of people at once. We do a lot of different things to get you to do that. And it's a great way just to put yourself out there and be genuine and get to know people. Julie's been there a lot longer than I have, so she knows how wonderful the environment is there just to get to know each other. One of my favorite things is when people come to Business Alliance and walk away and they're like, wow, that was just like family. And that's the feel we try to give at the chamber.
I love that.
It's true. They do make you feel like you're not in the room for the first time, that you've been there forever with them.
So is it what size of businesses or how new of businesses, does that matter? Where does chamber best fit in?
Our chamber, and you'll see different chambers focus on different things, and we've been given a lot of direction from our board to continue to focus on both bigger, small, medium. It's a place for everyone. I think our bigger businesses want to get to know the smaller businesses because a lot of them were there once. And they want to help them grow and and they also utilize a lot of the services that small businesses offer. So it's a great place for small businesses to get to know them as well.
Now that you say that, I was thinking, I have a client in another state that was talking to me, and his company is quite large. They have several thousand employees, and I was talking to him about doing some networking in that market, and he'd say, well, I've never done that. And so I got a hold of their local chamber, and when I flew down there, I met with their chamber, and then I had him meet us for lunch, introduced him, and got him hooked into that chamber. And here's one of the neat things that he told me later. He said, not only do I have more people referring our business, but I didn't realize how many of us are dealing with the same problems and how great it feels to be able to talk to other business owners and say, hey, I'm having a hard time finding skilled laborers, or I'm having a hard time with this issue. What are you guys seeing? What's working for you? And to have that feedback. So I agree with what you're saying is it doesn't matter that he'd been around over a decade, and that he had thousands of employees, he found the benefit when he joined that and immediately felt that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it when I love to sit back in the corner at events and just start to watch the connections happen, and get them away from me a little bit to start doing that stuff on their own.
I do love to see, I've noticed with the chamber when there's some of the big businesses that when they say, we've partnered with our favorite local drink shop, or we've partnered with our favorite local movie theater, whoever they're partnering with, to do a giveaway or a highlight or whatever, but it's just bringing the audience that the big business has, it's bringing that audience to the smaller business, and maybe people didn't know about it. And businesses go up all the time, buildings go up all the time. Clearfield City, where Tim's from, they put a new apartment building up every other week. If I miss driving through Clearfield one day, I'm like, woo, 500
I
more
wasn't there
units.
yesterday.
So I love to see big businesses partner with smaller businesses and being able to get their name out more.
Yeah.
Well, let's go dig just a little bit deeper. So networking, what's the best practices that either one or both of you have seen in networking out there?
I think a big thing is just getting out there and doing it. I'll get a lot of people ask me and say, hey, I don't know how to network. And really it's just being yourself and being friendly, but you've got to, take that deep breath and just go do it and make some friends. I think, and we were talking earlier before we started recording, was connection is one of the most basic human needs. Yeah. And we want it so bad, but it's the one thing that we fight the most out there, of getting to know other people, being vulnerable. And we really need to allow ourselves to be vulnerable to grow ourselves and to get to know other people, to grow our businesses.
For sure. I also think consistency. I know that in the beginning of my career, I was like, oh, I don't need to go to that event. I'll go next week. Or if something came up that I thought took priority, that I needed to be on a call or do something for the business. And it was easy for me to schedule over my networking time. And now, years and years later, clearly, I know how important it is to be there and be there consistently, so people know that you're there, that you're part of the community, that you're continuing to do business, and that you're there to help them.
Yeah, that dependable, that hey, they're not just a fly-by-night, they're just not in and out, but there's somebody that's going to be around that I can trust.
Yes.
I love that. What other things with networking? The one thing that I see out there so many times is when I'm dealing with startup companies, they're just like, I'm not sure if I have the time, because there was like 2 people in the networking group that wanted to meet me later for coffee or for lunch. And to me, I look at that as golden. That's golden. That's great. But a lot of times they're worried about, well, what if I get a call, or what if I get, and I don't know if you guys are seeing that too, but I think that one-to-one, even after the networking, is key to building the trust.
I think it's huge, and I think I was talking to an individual in my office last week, and she's like, I have so many other things I've got to get done. I can't make time to go to this event or just to block off time for a one-on-one. And I'm like, no, you can't afford not to do that. And your time is valuable, and you need to learn how to prioritize your time. If someone wants to meet with you last minute, then tell them, no, here's my calendar. A lot of us use Calendly or some other thing to organize that time when they can meet with you. And I think it makes you a lot more legit when you're doing that as well. Time is very valuable.
I also think there's a point there where I think maybe everybody's experienced this, but where I've had a whole lot going on in my life. I've had a whole lot of work and personal stuff and family, but I make it to the networking event, and I show up and I'm there, and then I have somebody else say, I'm too busy right now. And I got to admit, sometimes I feel like, do they think they're more busy than the rest of us? Or everybody else here made it here. How are you? Are you just not as organized, or what? And not to put that on them, but sometimes that's reminded me when I am too tired and I'm thinking, I should just bag it today. But then I start to think, well, what does that say about me and my image, right? If I can't get up and get out of bed and be out there talking to people, then, do I deserve any new business? Do I even have that coming? So I think that's part of it too, is the image of how you come across.
And you're right. Everyone is busy, and the blocking of the time is so important to say, I know that at the Chamber Business Alliance, where I've been going to for many years, and Tim has grown that group, but it literally, people show up before the building even opens now.
Yeah.
And they meet in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Last time I showed up to meet someone early, we were just exchanging, and I'm like, there are 14,000 people here already.
Yeah.
Okay, 14,000 exaggeration, but I bet there was 20,
Yeah.
and the building wasn't open, and then they stay after too. And so you have to block out that time to be like, I'm not going to schedule something so tight that I can't have those meaningful conversations with people.
There's a competition between a few to see who's the last person to leave. So, and I rarely get back to my office before 2 o'clock on that day.
Yeah. So Tim's there from 7 a.m. to 2 now.
Great.
Feels like it.
You win. One of the things that, as you're saying that, I started to think about is we find with some of our ongoing clients, as we look at how they market themselves and how they get themselves out there, that almost every client, no matter how big or size or what type of business, usually have, if you look at all the reviews they get a lot of one reviews from people, or not reviews, referrals, where people actually, word of mouth send them a possible client or prospect or whatever. But almost every one of those companies will have 4 or 5 people in their group that gave them multiple referrals throughout the year. So those are almost like their golden geese, right? They gave them lots of their business throughout, but it's usually only 4 or 5 people. But as we look at that, most of the time, honestly, 95% of the time, those are people they came to know and gain through some sort of networking.
Yep.
And those are the ones that end up being the multi-referrers, right? The ones that give them way more business. And so I know when I first left the corporate world, I was new to networking. And at first, when I went to I went to a BNI and a couple other things and checked them out. And I thought this would be good if I didn't have appointments or weren't busy, I could pop over to this. That was in my mind, that was justified, right?
Uh-huh.
And then as I got involved more and I started to see the income off of there, I started to see that networking event or whatever it is, a chamber event, whatever, by attending that regularly, that becomes my number one client real quick, right?
Yeah.
Well over, it could be a couple $100,000 a year in volume in referrals giving from networking over that time. There wasn't any single client that was giving me that same kind of business. And so real quick, I started to see, okay, I've got to share that with others that don't see that, because that is huge. That is, the backbone of my business is the people that I've met through networking. And I would well say that we did a look at our clients, and I'd well say that it's well over 90% of the people that we work with ongoing are people we met through networking. And so that becomes key. A lot of times people will ask, okay, same type of thing is, all right, I'm new to this, I'm scared, what do I say? And I'll give you both a chance to kind of talk about with that, but one of the things that I found is I always have questions about those other business. Why not start out with a question? If you meet somebody new and that, you can just start asking questions about where they cover, what they serve, about their process, and usually conversation just comes from that. What other things have you guys seen to help people when they
It's
first
like
start?
a blind date.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It is. It is like a blind date. Yeah.
That's for sure a blind date. I think I tell people just to be curious about them, find out their story.
Yeah.
Don't make it about yourself.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do. We all want to talk about ourselves. And I think it's okay to have that balance there. But, I mean, it's not a bad thing to ask them about their families or, even before you ask them about what their business is or anything. Where are they from? What do you like to do? What are your hobbies? What do you do during the summer with your family? And then you just start to get this connection between the two of you. And really, before you know it, you're all of a sudden, I've had conversations. One guy in my office not too long ago, we found out we both had ADHD, and all of a sudden we're talking about tips on how to help ourselves. And
That's awesome.
it was awesome. And then after that, you're just friends. And then you want to refer. That's the person I think of most is my friend.
Sure.
And that's the person I'm going to refer to when people say, hey, who do you know who does this? I'm going to say, yeah, I've got my guy over here.
Yeah.
And he does this.
Yeah, I love that. I have noticed too that as far as marketing goes, if I bought, say, a service that you were selling, if you had a company, and you did a great job, I would remember that and talk about that for the first little while. But over time, it would start to fade in my memory, right? And it wouldn't necessarily be top of mind. But going like what Julie just brought up, being consistent in there and having you talk about, getting up and just saying a few words about something else you're working on, all of a sudden that brings that back to my mind and to my heart. And so the people that have done a great job, you remember them more by just being in that networking group and hearing, whatever the latest thing they're working on or their latest pitch or the latest thing they've been involved with. And so a lot of times your word of mouth, by planting those seeds later too, of here's little tidbits or tips or ideas of what we're doing, can expand that. Well, I look at, with our clients, we're always looking at the touch points of any company that's out there. What are those main touch points? And a lot of times they look first at whatever their advertisements are. To me, I feel like advertisements are great, but it's just one little teeny piece. What usually expresses your attitude, your principles, your trustworthiness, all that is a little bit more of them hearing your voice, seeing you talk, being in front of them. And so to me, video is another great way to put that out there, but that one-on-one, that going to there and letting people see who you are and saying, hey, I heard you talk or heard you say this is so much better. And just looking at all the touch points out there, you have, if you have a storefront, you have your sign up front, that's a touch point. If you have your car and you have, logos on that could be a touch point. Your business card, all these are touch points, but none of them have the emotional impact to be remembered as much as that networking and being in front of people.
Yeah, I just think, we can't do enough of it. We can't get to know enough people. I was walking in to Clearfield City Hall here a while ago. My son asked me what I do for a living, and I just said, my job is to make as many friends as possible. And he said, you get paid for that? And I'm like, yes, you get paid for that.
Yeah.
And I just don't think we can become friends with enough people. And if we change that mindset from networking to just making friends, it takes away a lot of that stress and anxiety of, oh, I've got to put myself out there. And that's why even at Business Alliance, we try to get somebody at the door. So as people are coming through, they greet you. I love to hand them off to somebody else and say, this is one of our chamber members. And they can sit them down next to them and explain what we're going to be doing. And if we just bring things back to the human nature of things, then we'll just be way more successful than just thinking this is business.
Yeah. Wow, I totally love that. Because, if you go into the attitude of, I'm going to sell all these people, you're not going to get very far.
Yeah. Don't be the guy in there throwing their business cards.
Yeah.
I love to pull those people back and say, nuh-uh.
Yeah.
We don't do that here.
Right.
And my favorite is when someone thinks they've added up how much money they've made by this networking and that it didn't pay for itself, then that's the wrong attitude to go in with. Like that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Yeah.
And, obviously we all are busy people and we have to prioritize our time. So you want to spend your networking time where you're getting the most from it. But adding it, I don't think you can quantify that this didn't pay for itself on some of those memberships that are only several hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Like that's how much I spend in Coke a year.
Yeah. I spent that much last week.
I like to add it up in social capital. Sometimes we don't think about adding that up, and that's a very valuable thing if we have that social capital out there. My kids joke that they can't go anywhere that I don't know somebody, but I'm like, no, that's really what you want. You want to be able to go to Station Park and find 4 or 5 people you already know there.
Yeah.
And that's going to just, people are going to continually talk about you all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like we were talking earlier, that's going to cut back on your marketing dollars.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be able to invest your money where you find it more valuable.
We don't want people cutting back on their marketing dollars, Tim. But we
Be-
want to
that's what-
spend their money the
You'll
best
be able
way
to invest
possible.
it more wisely,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you can network and
Yes.
get your name out there, and people will start to find value in knowing you, helping people out. I believe in karma. Help people before they help you. It's going to come around to helping your business grow.
And I like the way you said that. I honestly think it's the same way as if I wasn't networking and I was just putting my marketing out there. It's almost like I'm buying one job, or buying one person to serve. Whereas when I do the networking, even if I spend some money on advertising after that, I put it out there. This is working on a long-term, multiple leads type effort, right? And so if they need to quantify it when you're out there, you're networking. This isn't just for a one-time
Right.
sell, right? It's ongoing, and I've seen that with even one of the networking groups I'm a part of. I go all the time, and it used to be I'd be happy. You pay so much money to be along. I used to be happy with 30 or 40 grand a year you'd get from that. Well, the last few years I haven't got less than 150 grand out of there in referrals from people, and to me, it's not those individuals, right? It's their family and friends, because I built that relationship, I built that trust, and now I'm getting all this other business that are not necessarily people sitting in that room, but they're extended connections, right? They're extended circles, and so,
I like to think of it as being transformational instead of
Yeah.
transactional.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. And it's, my family always says that I have people. Like, people mock it like I know a guy, and I do know a person for everything, I feel like. And they always mock me that I have people. I even have a cinnamon roll person. They're like, "You have a cinnamon roll person?" Yes, I have people. And it all came about by networking and being engaged in my community as well. I think that's just as important to know what's going on around, supporting people's passions, what they're passionate about, makes them love you even more and want to support you even more. And I go to random strangers' ball games because I love community sports, and I'm like, they're having a ball game there, I'll go there.
Yeah.
So you just got to be involved in your community, and then yes, you have people, you've networked, and when they think of someone, they're going to call you to do business with.
Yeah.
It's so neat because the people you network with can say things about you that socially is hard for you to say yourself. Like even if a guy came up to me and started to tell me how honest he was, I would wonder if there was a problem, right? I would wonder, okay, what's he trying to sell me?
I don't believe you.
But I was just thinking about how I got to know Julie is way before her and I had ever even spoken or talked to each other at all. I heard about her. I heard about how hard she works. I heard about her honesty. I heard about,
that's nice.
Yeah, all those type of things. So as I got to, when I first started talking with Julie, I thought, she's my type of people, right? Because I've already heard this from so many people. It wasn't something I had to even find out for myself, because people I know and trust love her and think she's great.
Oh,
Yeah, no, it's
that's
true.
so nice.
And that wouldn't have happened
It's true, though.
except through networking. It is true.
Thank you.
She's just incredible.
Networking, it's where it's at. That's where you find your people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
This has been really cool to talk about this, but one of the things that I've really been impressed with is, Tim, is I've been a part of the chamber for I don't know how many years, different throughout there, but I want to say thank you to you. I really appreciate the change when you came to this market and when you came and started working with the chamber. It woke up in me different things that the chamber provides that probably provided before. I just didn't know about it or didn't hear about it. And I think that's incredible. And congratulations to you. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
I also heard that you might be running for an office.
Oh,
I
knew this was going to come up.
Yeah, please talk about that for a minute.
I am currently running for the Davis County Commissioner seat. that's open. There's quite a few people running for it. But I've been on the Clearfield City Council for just over 7 years, and we've done some phenomenal things in Clearfield City of cleaning the city up and making it a vibrant economic hub in Davis County, that I felt like it was time to maybe push that to all of Davis County. We have a phenomenal county here that boasts a lot of great things, and a lot of people out there doing some fantastic things. But I love being a connector and bringing those people together and helping them see how they can work together. And I think we can make our county even better when we do that. And I think understanding business is a huge part of being in that role. A lot of people don't understand this position, that a lot of it is administrative. You're actually running Davis County with 2 other county commissioners. So you're running animal control and being involved with the health department and the sheriff's department. And so you do need to understand management, understand what it's like to build a team and pull people in around you, rally them around a cause. And I really feel like I can do that here in Davis County.
I love that. With the leadership you've shown so far, I agree with you. I think you'd do great. So what exact position is it then? It's one of the commissioners.
We have 3 county commissioners in Davis County that divide up the various services. So one person handles the health department, one person will handle economic development or animal control or public works. So it's a very administrative role. Cities kind of wrap it into a city manager role, where in the county we elect those administrators who run that. So it's very important for people to vet the candidates and get to know who they are, how they'll run things, because the last thing you want is to have inefficient services. We all want, to be able to call animal control and say, hey, this dog is running wild in my neighborhood and I need someone to come take care of it. So it's important to have somebody there that knows how to run that, can build a culture within that, to have employees that want to come to work every day.
Yes.
We've done that in Clearfield City. I love to walk past our customer service desk in Clearfield. Just happened to me the other day, and they like to stop me and talk to me. And I'm like, this is so awesome that you even know who I am, other than my pictures up on the wall upstairs.
That's helpful.
But they love to tell me, I'll ask them, hey, what do you think about working here? Yeah. Be honest with me. And it's so awesome to hear them say, I love to be here. Yeah. Or to go out with our officers and work with them, or our firefighters, and really get to know them and see how they impact our community. And I think that's one thing we really need to do. So I'd love to get in there, see how we can run things even more efficient. I'm sure there's a lot of redundancies. That's what I've been trained on most of my life, is how to look at those processes, see what we could pull out, save the taxpayer dollars. It's one of the hardest positions in any elected position, is how do you spend these dollars wisely, because they're not mine.
Right.
And it's, to me, it's sacred money.
Sure.
Because people work hard and are giving up income that could probably go to better things. But so if we're going to use it to build our community, it better be done right.
Oh, that's awesome. So are all, forgive me not knowing how this works, so are 1, 2, or
so that's a great question.
Seats open?
So there is only 1 seat open right now.
Okay.
It's currently filled by Commissioner Elliott, and he has decided to drop out of the race and not run again.
Yeah.
So there are 9 other candidates besides me.
That's a lot.
So the convention is coming up pretty quick. Both Republicans and Democrats have conventions, but I'm a Republican candidate, so I'll be at the Republican convention. There are 800 delegates who will be voting for who they either want to go into a primary ballot or to move on to the general election. And so hopefully things end up in my favor. I'm still pretty confident about it. Have been out talking to delegates and getting to know them. I like to listen to them and hear exactly what they want. And I don't think a lot of elected officials understand that. They get in and say everything that they're going to do.
Yeah.
But we're really there to do what you want. We can't do everything. We're a republic, and it's a representative government.
Sure.
But the more I understand what you want, there's more opportunity for me to get that for you.
And the delegates, they were just selected this month in March. Those
Absolutely,
800.
yes.
Okay. For
Yeah.
people that don't know, I had to think about it a little bit.
Yep. So
years
there was
ago.
caucus night, and you had to go to your caucus night, and you could be elected as a. This is really grassroots politics, and this year, so there's 2 ways you can get on the ballot in Utah: collecting signatures and going through the convention system. But none of the county commissioners candidates are collecting signatures. So this has a lot of pull within the delegates. So it's a race to get to know as many of them as you possibly can right now, and hopefully pull them over into Team Roper.
How many will be on the ballot? Like, is that decided? I don't know at all.
Yeah.
Is it
So
decided each year?
it depends on the percentage of a primary ballot is dependent on the percentage of where you end up
Okay.
at the convention. Generally, just because it's Davis County politics, there isn't much of a general election. So the primary election pretty much determines who's going to be in that seat when you have a dominant Republican Party in the county.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
And then the remaining 2 commissioners are Stevenson and
Kamala.
Oh yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
great.
yep, I think they both have about 2 more years on their
Good.
term. You run for 4-year terms. And so, know them both. They're both fabulous people. Would love to go work with them and share my ideas and thoughts there. And, Davis County is an amazing place. A lot of people don't know we're the smallest county geographically in the state of Utah. We'd probably be bigger if there wasn't a lake there.
Or a mountain.
Or a mountain
I always
next
tell
to us,
people
right?
that lake mountain.
We're kind of sandwiched between those 2 things. But we boast a third of the population of Utah.
Wow.
And so we are the 3rd largest county. And so we must be doing something right if everybody wants to live here.
Yeah.
But we have to do some things right. We're growing rapidly. A lot of that is our own children and grandchildren.
They don't want to leave.
And they don't want to leave because it's a great place. I don't blame them. But we do have people coming here as well. So how do we grow to the right way and not just grow to grow? We don't want to just build things. And a lot of that's on a city level. We need to be engaged on the city. I can't advocate for the cities enough. It's more important for you to know who your local mayor and city council are than it is for you to know who the president of the United States is. Local government is closest to the people, but they impact your life more than anything. And I look at the county commissioners more as to support those cities and give them the services that they can't necessarily afford on their own. Clearfield City can never afford to run their own animal control center.
Right.
And a lot of the other services that the county provides there. So I think the future, things are getting more and more expensive. We all see it every time we go to the grocery store. The cost of milk seems to keep going up from what my wife tells me. So we need to do everything we can to make sure our government is run efficiently so we can keep those dollars in the pockets of where it matters.
I love that. For so many years, I really pushed the buy local program. In fact, I got the opportunity when Governor Huntsman be one of the 2 to 3 man team that put together that Utah's Own program, and being able to see those statistics, to see when dollars are spent in the community, how much better that is than dollars spent with companies outside the community, outside the state, outside the country even. And, I don't know what the exact numbers are today, but back then, when I was looking at it, it was almost like if you spent it with a company that was located somewhere out the state, only about 21 cents stayed of every dollar. But if you spent it here, about 86 cents stayed within that community to help build it. And so I love that. I think that's incredible, and that's the way we got to go. I did have one question, and not to influence you in any way, but if by having you on the show, is there a chance that we could get an official Taco Tuesday at least once a month?
Oh, I would love
where
that.
Every taco center had to provide free tacos.
I don't know how much Manuel at El Burrito would like to give up his free tacos, but
Yeah.
he does have amazing tacos
He
there.
does. We love going there. I love that
We
buffet.
have some good places here in Clearfield for it. No, our small businesses really are the backbone of our community. And, I tell people, support your local businesses. They're the ones giving to local charities probably more than anyone is. Everybody goes to them to want to sponsor their gala or give a prize. And if we want them to continue to do that amazing work, then we need to be shopping local. And I think really the county can do a better job of letting people know who our local businesses are, and so people can go support them more. We do have some phenomenal economic development going on in the county as we're growing, but what do we do? How are we supporting those businesses? We have some amazing entrepreneurs here in Davis County. How do we keep them here in Davis County so they don't want to go down to Utah County or anywhere else? Let's keep them here.
Love that. We're running low on time here, but just really appreciation, Tim. It's so great having you on here, and any of you guys that could help spread the word with his campaign coming up and share with others what they can do to help as we get closer to that election. And it's so great to have Julie here. Julie's now working with us here as we're working together with our marketing company. Yeah, and like I said, she's just an incredible person, just honest as the day is long and hardworking. And what's better is she really knows how to help a company build and grow their business. And so it's neat to have her.
Thank you.
With that, let's call on in to this podcast. And thank you so much to Robin Hood Videos. They're one of our partners that helps us with these podcasts. And there isn't a better video production company in the state that I know of. These guys are incredible. So with that, thank you all, and we'll see you.
Thanks.